Good morning, you guys. I hope everything's going all right with you. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, for today, I just have this follow-along video. I'll try to go through it relatively quickly. Not too quickly, but try not to make it take too long. When you open it, you'll notice that there's, down here at the bottom, you'll see that there are different tables in this spreadsheet. This is Google Sheets. I might call it Excel randomly while I go through this, but I mean Google Sheets. I figure everybody can access that. You might have to switch from tab to tab, watching the video and then following along in Google Sheets. But hopefully this is doable. Let me know if you have any issues. I'll be around to help. Anyway, the first table is about regression and correlation. So this is kind of like just going over, if you have data, how do you visualize it? How can you analyze it? How can you put numbers or equations to it? So in the case that you have objects or people or things that have lots of properties, height and weight, or number of siblings and number of broken bones in their lifetime, whatever it is, they've got multiple properties. But each row here represents a single entity in two different values for two different properties. Sorry about that. They're the same thing, but they're two different pieces of information about that thing. And also that it's quantitative data. It's you'll see that they're decimals. They're quantitative measurements. In that case, you can analyze them through what's called regression and correlation. So the regression part means, how can you make one of these properties a function of the other? So can I predict property 2 if you told me property 1 based on some quantitative relationship between them that you can detect from the data that you have? Also, how strong is that relationship? How well can you trust that function? So just to show you how you can do that, if you have data from whatever, and you have two properties, they're numerical properties, quantitative, for the same thing, and you've got a bunch of those, and you'd like to see if there's a relationship, you can select both columns in Google Sheets, include the title columns, and all you got to do is click this little button that looks like a chart over here, and if you click it, hopefully your Google Sheet experience also smartly creates a scatterplot. If not, you can come over here to chart type and choose scatterplot. But you should see a sort of XY Cartesian coordinate plane, rectangular coordinates, where the first property is along the horizontal axis and the second property is along the vertical, and each pair of values is represented as a pair of coordinates, as a pair of, a horizontal placement and a vertical placement. So you can see that. So that's a click of a button right there. If you want to see the line of best fit, or the formula that relates that makes property 2 a function of property 1. You can just go to customize, maybe chart title. No, I think it's series. If you click on series, you can click on trend line, and then you'll see the line. You can click on, if you scroll down for label, you can say use the equation, and then you'll see the equation for the line. You can see that it has a slope of 2.66 and a y-intercept of 186. So that's, you can provide that just by clicking this. I mean, in statistics, you typically have lots of data, and doing things by hand isn't recommended at all. So in that case, you want to use software. So this is how you get your best fit line. One thing to note is that the y-intercept of 186, that doesn't look like 186. Sorry again, emails or text or something. Y-intercept of 186, that doesn't look like 186. That should be more like down here. But you'll notice that we aren't horizontally at 0, so this isn't the y-axis. We're kind of shifted to the right, so just be aware of that. Little bit of deception in the graph, but you can drag it around and move it. So for today, if you just follow along with what I'm doing, create the graph, save it and submit it so I can see that you did it. That's all you got to do for today. So for regression correlation, that's it. If you want to see the error bars, go ahead. But you just got to select them, hit chart, show the line, show the equation. Oh, and down here under the label, show use equation, if you click show r squared, now it's here, r squared, that gives you the correlation coefficient. So the regression is finding this relationship, this line. The correlation is telling you how well does the line fit the data, and how much should you trust the line. Bigger's better, but the more data you have, the less big it has to be. So that just tells you how well you can trust that the line actually kind of fits the data. So those are the important properties of this sort of a comparison, and that's how you do it in Excel. If you have any trouble with that, let me know. I'll do my best to try to walk you through that through email. That might be hard, but we'll do our best. But that's it for this table. If you go to the dot plots one, here's a different exercise where you've got, I don't know what this could be. These are just random numbers from 0 to 10. They're sort of focused around 5. Well, select them if you would. And let's go to the chart again. And it automatically, for me, created a histogram. If it doesn't, select histogram. And it lets you see the distribution visually. So this is what this sort of lesson is about, is visualizing your data and analyzing. So you can see I've got a lot that are near between 3.4 and 5. So I've got a lot of 4s and 5s. Not a lot of 6s. Maybe some 7 and 8s. So you see this sort of look. If you want to edit it, And if you go to customize and histogram, bucket size sort of tells you, well, is that what I want? Yeah. So if you go to histogram, bucket size, I think you can say how many buckets you want. So if I go to 2, well, everything's size 2, I guess. And then if you go to 5, it looks kind of less detail. So 2 is kind of not bad. That's if you want to customize the size of the ranges. But that gives you a sense of the distribution. They're clustered around 5, but they're between 0 and 10. That's all you got to do to create a histogram of these. But you can do a number of other things. You can, well, I'm going to try to show you how to create a dot plot, which basically, well, it just, if you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5s, it'll just put the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever, and at the 5 mark it'll create 6 dots to show you that you've got 6 of those. So just come to a space to the right and type 0, 1, 2, 3, and if you select that and scroll down, I just really want to go to 9. So I did the fill down, and then I got 0 through 9, because that's what I have in my data set. So now we want to create a sort of representation of a dot plot. So I'm going to come not 1 space to the right of each number, but 2. And if I type count if, that will count how many things I have if they match a condition. So I'm going to say count if, and then I got to select a range. So this is my data set. I'm going to select that range of values, and just after I type equals, when I click things, it'll put the cell values here. So type countif, open parenthesis, select that, and then comma, and then what's your criterion? Well, it's got to be 0. Count how many zeros I have, and then I close parenthesis, and I press enter. I have 2 zeros. I only see, no, I see them. Okay, yeah, there's 2 zeros. That's good. Now I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to do the fill down, and you're going to see it kind of extends this. There is a problem. If you click on it, the first one, it does my data range, A1 to A29, and it counts D3 zeros. It counts zeros in this list. That's good. If I click the next one, it's going to count D4s. So it's going to count how many 1s there are. But the data range is now A2 to A30. So not only did the thing I'm counting shift down, but the data range shifted down. We don't want that to happen. You'll see that the next ones do the same. So if we want to lock these in place, what we can do is put $signs in front of the row and column of each. So now it's with those $signs, it won't change even when you do the fill down. So I fill down. This is A1 to A29, counting D3s. The next one, A1 to A29, counting D4s. So that's an important thing to note about the fill down technique. So if you get that correct and you fill down, you can count how many of each number you have. That's good. But if you want a visualization, if you want the dot plot, you can use it's REPT, it's like repetitions. So REPT, and then you have to put in like a symbol. It sort of depends on what you have. You can use any symbol. I'm pulling one. I looked up center dot online, and I'm putting it in quotes to make it text, to make it register as a symbol. So whatever symbol you want, put it in quotes. And I'm going to count that twice in this case, but however many times I have a 0, or however many times I have a 1. So if you do that, REPT, put any symbol you want in quotes, and then select the count of zeros. I get a little visualization of 2 zeros. I have 2 of them. If I fill that down, you kind of get a dot plot. How many zeros do you have? 2. How many 1s do you have? 2. How many 3s do you have? Looks like 4. How many 9s? None. So that's how you can make a dot plot with Excel. So if you have values, and a lot of them overlap, like how many bones have you broken, or how many attentions, or whatever it is, if you have a set of counts and those numbers, a lot of people have the same count, you can create a sort of visualization of that lets you see where the numbers sort of stack, similar to the histogram, but a little different. I'll probably make another one where we go over categorical data, how you can deal with that, and quantitative data, and how you can deal with that. And that will be, I guess, what we cover. Hopefully you're able to follow along with this. Again, let me know if you're having trouble. And take care.